What's been going on? Have you been enjoying the nice weather?
Yeah, been outside a lot.
You got a nice layer of tan
Got a
on
good base.
Yeah, good base. Yeah,
Good base.
it is hot.
Yeah, very hot.
I was outside on the weekend, sweating, sitting there, like hot.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being this hot. Like, not to keep going about the weather.
I love it. I love
like-
a good conversation about the weather.
I know it wasn't this hot last
So
summer.
we were talking about it at PowerTech the other day. I love it. Like when you have nowhere else to go, you talk about the weather, and then the best thing ever is like around here. It's I love it. It's hot, but it's not the heat that'll get you. It's the humidity. That's what everyone says. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, oh yeah. So we were grabbing a coffee the other day, and the lady goes, "Boy, it's hot." So Charlie's on the other side. He reaches over and he goes, "Yeah, but it's the humidity that gets you." And she's like, "Oh my god!" It's like you're right. You're 100%. You're right. It's the humidity. It's like we're laughing. Like
That's so funny.
it's just hot. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Hot, humid. Who cares? We're talking today too. It's 70, but it feels like 90. It's like no, it's just 90 then.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
That's
it's
so
hot.
funny.
No, it's been nice though.
I wanted to talk a little bit today about like some of the things that we wish that some parents knew earlier. This one kind of strikes for me because I'm in the middle of recruiting. The U18 age group especially is uniquely coming out of the draft. And there's a lot of conversations that I'm having with a lot of parents and a lot of families surrounding that. And there's just obvious gaps in some of what the parents have come to know or understand. And so I want to just address some of the broad categories of those things. And not to say like people are wrong about what they think or whatever necessarily, even though sometimes they are, but just give some guidance or guidelines on like where things should kind of be fitting at certain points. Because at least for a lot of the parents, from what I can tell, and the kids too, actually, because like even some of these kids that I'm talking to are not sure about certain things. And I remember being in that situation too, which is part of the reason that we do this podcast and stuff that I do now is because they don't have the resource that is useful. So a couple of things that have stood out to me. This one kind of tails in with the draft, but starting is just like the actual development timeline. And for me, it's getting parents to understand kind of what should your expectations be and when. So I had a conversation. I had Brian Gill on the podcast the last episode that we released, and he was kind of talking about the draft. I'll start kind of with that, saying
Like you're talking the OHL draft,
the
or the
OHL
NHL
draft. Yeah, the OHL draft, and he was kind of saying like the draft is what teams feel they want to do at that time. Like that is what it is. It's not what I think. It's not what the other agent thinks. It's not what the parents think. It's not what the public lists think. It's none of that. It's what the team thinks at that point for whatever reason, whatever their reason is. They're picking whatever they want to pick, and parents just don't really grasp the confusion that is the draft. And like we talk about this all the time, how you'll never figure it out. You'll drive yourself nuts trying to figure out what's supposed to happen and what makes sense. And you'll see somebody get picked and be like, wow, like that's surprising that person got picked or whatever.
like at all.
Yeah, at all, right?
Or that high or that late.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess so let's start with maybe talking about the draft, and it could be the NHL draft too, but even with that, is what would you say or what advice would you give for parents going into that thing first? I'm going to broaden it out to development afterwards, but what should the expectations be going into the draft? I think a contrast to make is like, yeah, you can focus on the other people that are getting drafted or not, but I mean, just for yourself or your kid or your family or whatever, what should the expectations be going into that kind of situation, or what is something that parents should know before that draft day comes on that, what they should be thinking about going into that?
It's fun. It's funny because I had someone from Calgary down yesterday that is an avid listener. So say hi to Jesse from Calgary. His kids Kingsley and Tyler skated with us yesterday, and they're good players, nice little players. And Dad Jesse played in the WHL, and then he played in University of New Brunswick, and he coaches out there. And he was actually talking about a lot of their development models and stuff. So they play in a league now that's an unsanctioned league started by Ryan Smith, Captain Canada, and something. And so he gave me the whole thing on that, and I'm like, interesting. And I can't go into it right now, and I don't know enough to really say much, but like it was nice to hear actually some smart development plans or an intelligent approach that's not don't know what the word is, but it isn't like just like political, if you want to call it that, under whatever umbrella. So it was interesting on that phase, and then it was interesting how he said, I've been watching your podcast for a few years now. And people always call me and say, "What do you think of what Andy said or Eric said on this, this, and this?" And he said, "Well, he says, and you've changed my philosophy on coaching because when I coach, because I played at a high level, and obviously he's on the same page as us, right? But he goes, I played at a high level." When he was coaching, he was like over coaching and over communicating, over expectation, over development, and all that kind of stuff. He goes, so I listened to a lot of your stuff, and he goes, and I backed it off. He goes, and thank you. He goes, like it really works. So it was good. We had a great conversation, great stuff. But he told me like there's different models and stuff out there, and so different out west. So like a lot of times we do talk like this. Like just for example, in that situation, you got someone from Alberta, which the development models are where you play and where you develop and all that kind of stuff is different than what you would do in Ontario. It'd be different than what you do in Michigan, maybe, or Massachusetts, or whatever else. So take everything with a grain of salt, and there's a common sense approach. So, anyways, what should you expect from like? So we're talking to the Canadians or people that want to get in the CHL. Let's say, from that perspective, is like, what should you expect in the draft? It's like, yeah, you can't look at other people. Like that's. I was just reading the George St. Pierre book again. I just love it so much, and he said like, the comparison is a thief of joy, right? When you start comparing yourself, like you're never going to be good enough because there's always someone going to be better. And then if you compare it to that, if you compare it to your line mate or someone that plays with, you're always way better. So comparison is a thief of joy. So it's like focus on yourself, and that's really as an athlete, that's what you need to do. So what's your expectations in the draft? Is like here for me, this is the thing. I think anybody that plays hockey in Canada, or Americans that would like to play in the CHL, being a 16-year-old high draft pick is an important thing for the player. But it has to be the player. It has to be the player. It can't be the parents, right? Like that's obvious. And then if you do the things and you're good enough and all that stuff, then your expectations, like, yeah, I would like to get drafted. So the thing is now is like, what's realistic? And when I say realistic, I don't like to say cap what you think you should get. Like, push for what your best version of yourself, or whatever you can get out of hockey. But there is a realistic approach. Like, for example, there's this is not to shit on someone, right? But this is reality, right? If you're a 5'7", 5'8" defenseman and you're fairly skilled, you're probably not going to be the highest draft pick, just simply because you're 5'7". But let's just say you are 5'7" and you're fairly skilled, or you're very skilled, and people are talking about you. So just, you got to be honest with yourself. Like, look in the mirror and then be honest with yourself. It's like, is my skill set that much better than someone that's 6 feet tall? Is it better than everyone that's 5'8"? Like, is it translate into being like, I'm like a top guy even though I'm small? And if it is, realistically, you can think, okay, I'm going to push. I really want to get drafted, and I would be disappointed if I'm not a top 5-round pick, right? Like, that'd be realistic. But I think where it falls short is a lot of people aren't realistic with themselves, and it's a hope, right? Well, that's the biggest thing. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy is an elite trainer. He's a disciple of Charles Poliquin. He has pros coming out of his ass in his gym, and he said that, it's funny. He goes, he got four Hall of Fame NHLers that have their kids train with him. And what they do in the summer is they say, when is the dates? What are the times? And what's the pickup? Like, give me the schedule and how much. So the kid, they drop them off, and it's like, hi, how you doing? And they drop them off, and that's what they do. He said the ones that give me the biggest problems are the ones that never played a sport or never played the game, and they go, yeah, but, and they have a million questions, and they question everything that you do. And whereas you got the guys that played in the NHL that are in the Hall of Fame, they go, yeah, you got them because you're good at what you do. So yes, the parents can, and I understand, like, in a lot of ways, why parents get caught up in pushing and or that you want the best for kids. I get that, right? I get that. But the thing is, like I always said this, you can set yourself up. You could set your kids up for a world of hurt. I've had that conversation with a lot of people, right? They read and I think Brian, the Gill, who was a agent, he was talking about the other lists. So as you alluded to, which is a word, right? Alluded. You alluded to earlier is the teams pick what they need, right? And so the lists that most people go and subscribe to and follow and or want to hear, or that you listen to the conversations that you want to hear, you hear what you want to hear. People that blow smoke up your ass, like if that's what you hang on to, that's when you're going to get disappointed. So I've had several people, like I remember talking about the one kid that was a big boy at 13, 14 years old, and his dad asked if I could train him. So I'm like, yeah, we got this, and this. And he goes, no, but you don't understand who my son is, right? I go, no, I know exactly who your son is. And he was like looking at me like, but you don't know who he is. So then he came in the one day and he goes, a lot of people are comparing him to Aaron Ekblad. You know that, eh? And I go, listen, man, I told the dad and I told the son, I said, listen, stop. Like, you need to stop that. He went first overall in the draft. So the kid was in one day and he goes, like, when you said the other day that, because I train Aaron Ekblad, like a lot. He goes, when you said that, like I'm not even, no, like to stop about Aaron Ekblad, like, what did you mean about that? Like, this was the kid. So as he said this, he had an earring the size of this freaking BioSteel bottle off his ear, which is, he's a kid, but there's one, so I'm an asshole now. I know, I'm sorry. But that's, first thing. So I told him, I said, like, he goes like, what do I have to do? I said, I forget what his first name was. I said, you are so, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I said, you are so far away from being Aaron Ekblad that it's not even close. He goes, but what do you mean? I go, he was the best player in the world. He was drafted first overall 1 year early in the Ontario Hockey League. He was drafted first overall. He won a Calder Cup last year when he won it. I said, he is one of the best defensemen in the whole world. I said, you are not even close. You might be one of your better defensemen on your team. He had a good shot. Right. So it was the illusion of the 13, 14-year-old being a big, and yeah, I know. And the dad was nuts. Right.
Yeah.
But the dad and the people around him created this illusion that you're a superstar. Right. So this kid expected to be like, because my dad told me that I'm the best and I'm bigger than everyone. And I got a hard shot, hits the glass every time, but he's got a hard shot. And like, it wasn't a great ski. Like, he was okay. Like, he was okay. And it was like, but so that's where the disappointment comes in. I've told that to a lot of parents is, don't tell your kid how high they're going to get drafted, where they're rated. Just always encourage them to work hard and stick to the process. Like, so one of the things, I'm going on a long tangent here, but like you said, expectations, like I've always told my kid, and when people talk to me, I go, don't have expectations. Don't have them, because it's out of your control. Like, right, you can't control other things, but what you can control is if you work hard and do the things to make yourself better. So my thought process, instead of having expectations, is to have standards, and your standards should be that I'm going to work for everything I get because it's worth it, right? So earn and learn. That's what I told my kid. That's what I tell my other kids. And I'm being 1,000% honest. My kid went to the OHL and he already had his answer in his head when he got his interviews and stuff. They said, well, that didn't come out all the time, but a lot of times it says, where do you see yourself? And the answer is, it's a true answer. Like, once you understand it, it's like, I don't have expectations. I can sit here as I expect to make the team be on the first line. Well, that's stupid. Yeah. No, maybe it's not though. But your expectation should be. You don't know what
you don't know. Like, how can you say that?
That's right. So so earn and learn. So coach and be very sincere about it. Because if you have this attitude and you have this process in your mind and the work ethic, then it works out for you. So I'm going to learn everything I can, and truly do that. Don't just say the words. Learn everything you can. So the coach is explaining a system on the ice. Like, you have to understand that system so that it enables you to play. If you don't understand it and you screw up, then you won't be able to get on the ice. So you're not learning. So you got to learn. You got to learn edge work. If you got a power skating coach, like whatever those things are, learn the vocabulary, learn the atmosphere, learn what a leader is, learn. And as you learn, like you cannot have one excuse. You can't make, and it doesn't matter if someone gets a better shot at something. Like I remember like several kids, not just my kid. Like it's like you could outperform someone, and you're not getting your crack. So what do? Do you cry? A lot of people do. They cry, or they call the agent right away, or they complain to their mom and dad, and their mom and dad gave them, they give them a bottle, and they, suck their thumb a bit, and they go, I know it's so bad, it's awful, you're getting screwed. That's not the answer, man. Not to be a professional hockey player, not to be an elite hockey player. That's not the answer. It's the wrong answer. Getting a free ride, and it's just my turn. It's not your turn. Your turn is when you earn it. So, for example, if you're a if you go into the Ontario Hockey League, CHL, college, whatever it is, NHL, it doesn't matter. Whatever jump it is, you're probably gonna have to learn a whole bunch of new shit. So until you earn the ice time that you deserve on a consistent basis, you have nothing to bitch about, nothing to complain about. So I always say, like, if you're a fourth line goal scorer in the Ontario Hockey League, like you're supposed to be a goal scorer, and you're not getting ice, like you're probably not going to score 35, 40 goals as a young guy. So what is it that you have to earn? Well, number one is you have to earn my coach's trust. I have to earn every ounce of ice time, right? I have to earn the right that the coach respects me because I'm on time, I'm paying attention, I have good body language. I'm not sucking my thumb every time I miss a shift or my shift gets short, and all those things. You know what I mean? I earn that. So how do you earn that? Well, it starts off with your face off, maybe, right? Are you winning a face off? Good. If you're losing it, are you tying a guy up and are you getting your position and being defensively sound? Are you distributing the puck and are you just trying to get better every shift, every practice? Did you stay out late for practice? Every junior hockey player gets to stay out for another 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes every single day. You can get there early. Like those are the things. So earning is everything, like learning and earning. And then if you do that, things seem to come. So whether you get drafted in the first round, not drafted at all, the process will never change, right? You have to earn, you have to learn, you have to earn, and it's a never-ending cycle. And I think if people can just put a bow on that and say these are the two things that I'm going to do, then things will work out if they're going to work out. So number one, if you have the talent where you're getting noticed on the ice, right, and you're working hard and you get drafted or invited to a camp, then that's a positive. If you're a first round pick, that's probably more of a positive, maybe. Because once we get there and we play as a team, if you're not willing to change or evolve into that player that wants to earn and wants to learn and maybe change a role or anything like that, or when things go a little bit sideways or not your way and you don't like adversity, if every time you quit or you suck your thumb or whatever, then you're probably not going to be a player, you know? So like the expectations going into it is like, the more that people can understand that like this is really hard. It's really, really hard. Like when you think about it, the National Hockey League draft, like you would think like, oh, okay, there's, I'm going to get drafted. I'm a good player. But it's like some teams only have 3, 4 picks, 2, 3, 4 picks. Some teams can make some trades and they get 9, 10, or 11 picks, but that's in the whole world. So like you have to really do something for someone to say, like, I'm going to hang my hat on this pick. This person is going to be part of our organization. So whining and having that attitude that you just should get your turn to get drafted or to get your opportunity on the ice, like they don't hand that out. You have to take it. Like, and that's the thing as a hockey player is like, as much as parents want to comfort their kids and give them everything, I'm not carving parents, just in general, right? We all want our kids to do well. But as soon as you start putting padding around everything they do and wanting the easy way, it doesn't actually work. Some guys, yeah, it probably does. But in reality, it doesn't. There's no success in just being good enough. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Earning it is the lessons that you learn to get up there. Like hockey's about taking a job and not letting someone else take yours. That's what it's about. And I've said it a million times. It's from getting from this disappointment to the next. So that's expectations. That's my answer to that. Yeah. It's a long one. It's because it's like you could put it on like it's but just so incredible.
Just one thing I want to add to that too is just as you're talking, because it's easy to we talk about comparisons and stuff like that, and when you look at yourself. But what you said was really good because it's like you have to earn it. And like, even if you look at the guy next to you, even if you look at the guy next to you, and maybe you look at them and say, hey, that guy didn't earn what he got. Well, that doesn't mean that you did earn it though, right? So
That's right.
if somebody else got a fortunate bounce, or they got a lucky break, or they got an easy ride, or whatever,
or they earned something just because they're a little better.
Right. Or maybe their bar
Right
is their bar is a little bit lower because they have more ability, or who knows. If you look at them and say, well, they didn't earn that, and you start doing that game, well, that still doesn't mean that you did earn it, right? So you're still playing this game of, I'm looking at what that person is doing, and because this is what I hear the most. The reason I say that is because a lot of times we talk about the draft, and it's like, I mean, we talked about this just with the NHL draft. It's like you look at some of these picks and you're like, holy, like, how is that guy getting picked? How is this guy getting picked? And you can do that, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you should have got picked sooner, right? And I think that is what happens in people's minds a lot. Like, the implication is, well, that guy got picked. Well, I'm way better than that guy. Like, that should have been me that got picked higher than that guy, right?
We could probably poke holes in every pick.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is what I tell when people talk to me about that. And there's one person in particular I always say, when did you become a head scout? How long have you been scouting the whole world to say that person right there should, your kid, or that person should be drafted higher than he did, lower than whatever, or shouldn't be drafted? When did you become qualified to come up with that? Because you don't know. Like I've been in hockey since I'm 2. I didn't study hockey at 2. I was in diapers, but but I've been in hockey since I'm 2. Like, hockey, this is not, it's a funny thing to say, but it's not. It's the truth. I've spent more time in a hockey rink and in a gym than I have at my house in my life. I spent more time in a hockey rink and a gym and the hockey culture than I have in my regular life. I have a clue, right? And I still do not understand the process of scouting. I understand it, but I don't get it, because there's people that get picked just like everyone else does. And I go, how would that person be a first round pick in the National Hockey League? And sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm totally wrong. How could this guy get looked over in the National Hockey League? He does this, this, and this. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But they're not looking at, like, one of the big things is, like, I'll just use my kid, for example. Oh, he's better than that guy. Go, yeah, he is. Today. Or in my opinion. Or in your opinion. But in the Tampa Bay Lightning's opinion, basically they think he sucks. Because they didn't pick him. Right? So your opinion and my opinion doesn't matter, because, as you said in the beginning, the teams pick what they need, what they like. It doesn't mean they don't like the player, but they needed something else maybe. And maybe they're projecting someone.
Yeah, they have their own criteria,
they're at 17,
man.
6'5", 6'3", whatever, and they see one thing that they like, and they go, like, I'm not going to say his name, but we have one person that went to the NHL and signed. Big boy. Couple of the scouts were asking me before he got drafted, what do you think? And I go, I don't know. Like, I mean, big, tough. They said, yeah, but if you saw him in the American League after he's done junior, if you saw him in the American League under really good coaching, and he learned the art of being just a good defenseman in 4 years in the American League or whatever, do you think he could be a better player? Do you think that would help? I go, yeah. Yeah, you can't teach 6'4", 5'6". You can't teach that. You can't teach how tough he is. Like, he goes overboard and it puts his team in junior at a disadvantage by taking dum-dums, joins a dum-dum club every game. But if
you can make an argument that there's tools there.
Yeah, so he throws 3 pizzas a game up, easy to play against now to a certain degree. He'll take your head off. So, like, if you get the organization that has him and they take him and they mold him into something simple and tough, and the pizzas are gone and he's a more disciplined player. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I said, but if I'm looking at him right now, I go, no. But they're looking at a different process, right? So they know, okay, if I get these professional defensemen coaches that teach this, this, and this, right? There's all these different things. And that brings me to the point when we were talking about earning and learning, is youth hockey. So we were having this conversation with my new friend from Calgary, Jesse. We were talking about that. He goes, man, because out west they do a lot more spring tournaments. He goes, we go to these tournaments, and he goes, like, it's the same kids but on different teams every single weekend. So he goes, like, and they're skilled, but then you start seeing them. It's like they're not. I go, they're the same guy. He goes, yeah, they're just kind of the same player. I go, yeah, and I said, so did they earn being on this elite spring team, or did their parents earn it for them? Did your parents are able to spend this to get them on that team, whereas this person didn't? Are they picking players, or are they picking just a bunch of players that can afford to play? I said, you know what I mean? So that's not an earned thing by the player. To it's like in a certain degree, they have to be somewhat good, I guess. I don't know how really spring hockey works, but if you're having a true competition, are they the ones that would make that roster? Like, they didn't earn it yet. So like, you can get fooled on playing on this elite, this, you're 14. And then just go at 13, 14, 12, whatever the age is. It's like, you probably are good if you played a hell of a lot more. But at some point that just evens right out. And then the real hockey starts. And then, and I'm not saying that those players can be bad. They're not going to be bad for it, but it's like, real hockey is going to start one day, where it is a competition for every job, every face-off, positional, learning systems, being a team player, maybe changing a role, all these different things. It's like, now can you play hockey? And when the comp, and it's just that same thing. You know, George St. Pierre talked about that in his book too, is about that the competition. If you're just a better athlete, everything's easy. But at some point, it becomes very, very difficult. And then now you have to be able to be adaptable. Like he talks about the cockroach versus the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, okay, this is kind of like an extension question off that. So if we get a little less specific then outside of the draft, and we just talk about kind of the development timeline. I'm in the middle of this right now with the U18 group again, because they're just coming out of the draft. And if you're talking to the parents, like, what should they know about where their kids should be at that point? So like, a couple caveats to this. Most of the kids that play hockey in general, even if they were drafted, are not going to go be hockey players. So that's one that is probably good to understand. So given that, if you're a kid that is not in that upper echelon, even if you got drafted mid to late or didn't get drafted at all, but you're still, by all accounts, a decent hockey player, you're a skilled player, you want to work hard at it, whatever it is, what should you be understanding about where you're at in the actual development timeline at that age group, right? Because there's a bunch of kids that could end up being at a higher level, some at a lower level, whatever. What should that feel like if you're talking about it as a family, making decisions as a family on where you're at that's, let's call it the U18 level, for, I guess, from that perspective?
Okay, so I'm gonna lean back a bit, take the mic like I'm Mick Jagger right now. I love the question. I'm gonna bump it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Okay, it's the development. Like, so first of all, it comes down to, what do you want? What do you want out of life? Because we can give all kinds of advice, and if you want something, then if you're acting in a different way of what you want, then that doesn't even make sense. So providing you want to develop into getting your school paid for to a pro hockey player path, right? Then you got to make decisions that are going to enable you. You don't have to, but you should make decisions that are going to enable you to obviously develop. So what people don't understand about junior hockey as opposed to youth hockey is that now you're fighting for a job. Coaches don't have to say, "Mom and Dad, we play." They don't have the parent meeting every year. They say, "Okay, so we have 4 lines, but out of the 4 lines, we have 2 extra players. But what we're going to do is we're going to float a guy in, and play every third." That's not how it works. They might have if you're recruiting, you might have a conversation with the parents to recruit, but it's could be 100% bullshit anyways. And what are you going to do? If they don't play you, if you get scratched, what are you going to do? So junior hockey is a whole different animal. So that's number one. So if you're at a level, like if you're a draft pick that the coach said, your organizer says, we want you to go to junior B or junior A, and we want you to develop a call for practice, that's one thing. They say, And another thing is to play here and you're going to be on a fourth line and you're going to get scratched every third game. That's another thing. It's like, are you developing? I don't know. But so another way to look at this question is there's going to be a lot of kids. This is my opinion. Okay. My opinion. And we'll see in a few months or a year how this goes. There's going to be a lot of people that are leaving junior hockey now to go to they're making the quick decision to go to NCAA.
Like leave the OHL, you mean?
Yeah, OHL, WHL, CHL to go. They're
go
making
early. Yeah,
right. So a lot of people say, "Well, it's good for them." Is it though? Could be, might not be. So I think it's like goes along with like what everybody. The people follow people. They just think, okay, we're going to do that because okay, if you think logically, what is college hockey? College hockey is an older league. So if it's older, it must be better to a certain degree. Yes. You get your body physically ready. You know there's reasons to do it, definitely. And for some people, going from, if they're drafted and they get that extra year in college to play the college game and develop, it might be the best thing for them. So let's say Gavin McKenna, he's a superstar hockey player. It might be the best thing for him. It will. He's going to get his ass kissed anyway, so it's going to be fine. But it's going to be, is that the best move for him? Who knows, right? Who knows? Could be good. He might sit there. Like I look at it like going, "Okay, you're a hockey player. You love it. It's very evident that you love playing hockey. Very evident. So do you want to play 36 games, or do you like playing 80? Maybe that'll be the thing that goes like, get the hell out of here. Don't know. But anyways, bad example. Is that the right move? Okay, so let's think of other guys. Gavin McCann is probably going to just do fine because he's so super skilled. But let's take a guy that was maybe an overage in the OHL, or a guy that's just got drafted that's going to go to a big school. All right, so you're leaving a team that knows you, in a league that you know, that you get a lot of ice, that you're getting a lot of touches, and they've always said, the history of the world, no one's ever made a bad decision playing one more year of junior. You're not going to get worse. You can maybe, if you don't have the inner drive, get a little bit lazy, take it for granted, but you're not going to get worse because you're going to be around the puck, you're going to get ice. If you played for the same coach, you know what you know, right? It's the devil you know. So if you're a guy like a fairly high pick going to the NHL and you got drafted fairly high, or you're a year or two away from being in the American League, is it better to go to a school that they've signed you, but the coach might not like you at all? So you're starting back to, I got to prove myself again, which is fine. But are you touching the puck enough? Do you have his love?
Yeah, pros and cons, man. Yeah.
Pros and cons.
You don't know the
pros
grass
and
isn't
cons.
always greener, right?
Pros and cons, 100%. So like, it doesn't mean college is better. Doesn't mean it's worse. Doesn't mean saying in junior is worse. But I would say I'm taking that example first before the U18 to say, like, do you want to go and do that part again? Do you want to go start on the fourth line? And like I said, it's fine. Might be the best thing for you. Maybe you're not going to be on the fourth line. You don't know, but that's the thing, you don't know. Whereas if you stay in your junior for till you can't, then you know what you know, right? And it's up to you to push yourself, all that kind of stuff. And maybe I'm an idiot for saying this, but you're going to see a lot of kids that thought they were going to college come back, because everybody thinks like, okay, they just think it's the next logical step. They think it's the best place to go before they ever turn pro, and they might be right, but they might be totally wrong. So how does that look now? You go and leave your team to go to play for a college team. The college team isn't what you thought it was, good or bad. I'm not saying in a bad way. The coach hates your guts. You rather play more games. You don't like going to school, whatever. And then you say, I just want to come back. Now, how does it look? Who cares how it looks? This is what the answer is. But now your coach comes back, oh yeah, or you go back to your OHL team or CHL team, they go, oh yeah, you're back, eh? They're gonna love it that you're back, but it's like gonna be also like
bit of an FU,
yeah. But or you go there and you succeed in college. Okay, anyways, I made my point. So U18, you didn't get drafted. Now you're making the decision for U18 to junior. It's the same decision. You don't understand the junior game yet, or maybe you do. But if you haven't been offered a spot let's put it that way, right? It's kind of like the draft for where there's no draft. If you go to like there's a lot of junior B and junior A teams in Canada, right? If you haven't been offered a spot, like aggressively offered a spot, and like this is what we want from you, like if we're in the middle of the summer and you don't have like 5 options, like you're deciding which one is the actual best one, and you can actually understand in your head, like when I play hockey's kind of easy now. Like it's like at U17, U18, like it's actually, or 16, it was really easy, and like, and you probably got AP'd and stuff. Then if you don't know what that's like, then you're probably better off, unless you like to go and earn and learn, like you want to do the hard part. Don't complain. Don't complain. Because like what you think it's going to be is it not, and you might do it totally differently. But if you developed, because that's what we're talking about, is developing. How do you develop? You touch the puck. You're on the ice. You play the game. And then if you have good coaching, that's even better. If you don't have coaching, maybe that's a negative. But if you have on the ice, you have good. You're on the ice, touching the puck, playing in games, getting shots, doing what you do really well. Then that's how you get confidence. You don't get confidence by sitting. So that would be my answer to that.
Well, that's what
like,
Jason Guerrero that we had. He was a USA hockey guy, and he was talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the examples that he gave were, he used the USHL as the example because they're in the States, whatever. And he was saying, like, if you don't have USHL teams calling you, like, that's probably not your market. Maybe you have a bunch of North American League teams calling you. That's probably your market. If it's not that, maybe you have NCDC teams calling you. That's your market. Yeah. And like it's similar in Ontario. It's like if you don't have junior B teams knocking at the door, like let's say you could still find a junior B team to play on, right? Is that better? Like if you're going out, you're putting in all this work trying to scrape a spot out of whatever team, wherever it is, just to be there. It's like that. Is that the best reason to be there, or is it good to go somewhere where you're wanted? And I like this. I have this conversation with so many families, and like I totally appreciate the position they're in. Like a lot of them, they're holding off. They want to see if junior spots come available and all that, which is fine. But like, what are you doing it for? That's always the question. It's like, why are you doing it? Like, what do you think is going to happen? So like, if you could sign with the Leamington Flyers that we have here as their 8th defenseman, do you want to do that? Or is it better to go be the 3rd defenseman on a junior B team? If you're going to go be a healthy scratch for a junior B team, well, maybe it's better to play on U18 where you could actually be a go-to guy, maybe still get some AP games or getting some practices and that kind of stuff that's available to you. Like maybe that makes more sense. And this isn't a podcast to say you have to go play U18 hockey. It's just the mindset of where you're actually at and what is your actual market for the level that you're at. And you can bring this down to any level. It doesn't even have to just be U18. It's just because I'm in the middle of that right now that's the example. But what is your actual market? Like what actually makes sense for where you're at? And that always is going to take the ego hit, man. Like you have to take the ego hit because a lot of your buddies that you played with or the top end guys on your team that you played with probably went off and made a junior team somewhere. And it's not going to be you now. And you have to soak that one, which sucks. And I remember going through it the same way. It's like you feel like you're no good and like you're taking a step backwards instead of a step forward and all that, but it's just not the right psychology that you should have about it. If, to your point at the start, what do you want out of life? Like, what are you actually trying to do? What are you trying to pursue? Like that has to be what the North Star is all the time. It can't just be the letter or the thing that makes my position look more admirable to people that are around me in my social circles or whatever that motivator is, right?
Yeah. What's funny, like it's going to be funny here. Just in 1 second, it'll be kind of funny. It's funny, like going through when you watch the process, and then I do reverse engineering with my kid and other kids, right? As you go through the OHL or college or whatever, you're going to know if NHL teams like to get to the next level, if they're interested or not. But you know why? When you're eligible, there's interviews and you get feedback. You get feedback. If you don't get feedback, or you don't have interviews and real good interviews, and your GM saying, "Okay, I was talking to this team and they're whatever," all that stuff, then that's probably not the level that you're there. You're not there yet. So, so it's the same as going from midget to junior B, A, whatever. It's the same thing. Like if people are not knocking your door down. Because the thing is, it's like not that they haven't seen you play; they've seen you play, right? So Ian, who is Charlie's agent, it's the best. I've always been of the thing, like, I'm not going to, we can't go around asking, what do you think? Like, and selling yourself. Like, you sell your hockey abilities and the type of player on the ice. So Ian said, yeah, he goes, we're just on the same page, but he used the best line. He goes, yeah, we're not going to walk around the hockey world with a tin cup and a sandwich board around us asking for an invite or a get drafted. Can you please take me? Please take me. He goes, got to do it on the ice, right? It's like the menu, eh? The menu is like, I'm actually really good, and I'll, no, you do it on the ice.
Yeah.
You don't walk around begging.
Right.
You got to do it on the ice. So that's what happens is like you're, and I get it. You're hoping for something big, but if you're not performing and you're getting feedback from people, you'll know. So if you're not hearing a lot, that's an indication.
Yeah. The last part of it for me, and then we can shut her down, is especially for people that haven't been through it, if you have kids that are going through it, the emotional pressure that the kids feel that are going through this part of their hockey development, right? And for kids that are going into U16 next year, or maybe they're a year away, or they're just finishing it, or they're in the year after, like, it's a heavy burden in itself already, just socially, for these kids. So like there's a lot, they're having like an identity crisis, and for the parents, if you haven't been through that, it's easy to not really grasp how that feels. And like, I don't even have good vocabulary to explain how it feels, because it's one of those things, like, you always say, what does a banana taste like if you've never eaten one, right?
Yeah, eat it.
Yeah. You have to eat it to know what it tastes like. Yeah. So, and you can imagine what it feels like. And I'm sure people are smart enough to relate to what it feels like in certain ways. But if you haven't gone through it and you don't know what your kids are going through, it's very important that you're not contributing to the problem by your own lack of understanding of what's going on, right? So for the parents, the players maybe have an excuse where they're not necessarily mature enough to understand some of these things or digest some of this information. But for the parents, you have to try to support this part. Like, this is the reason the reason your parenting is important is during these times, the times where it's actually really hard. And when it's something that you care about that deeply as a player or as a kid, and it could be hockey or it could be anything else, there's going to be crunch times that happen. And if you can't support them going through those periods, it really, really compounds that pressure issue, because I'm thinking of one family that I've been talking to quite a bit recently. And I just know that the dad is causing so much extra pressure on this kid that's so unnecessary. It seems like the parent's ego. That's what it seems like to me.
Well, a lot of times it is, right?
Which is hey, everybody's going to do what they're going to do and whatever. But for me, and for people that are listening to what we're saying here, that's kind of the last thing I want to leave off.
The parent's ego, like this is not a carve. I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a hockey coach. I'm a hockey player. All that shit. When my son was drafted, I felt
that feels good. Yeah, it feels good.
Right. And we were totally like we try to keep. He's a smart kid, but like try to keep it in the lines, and you use comparisons of like Ian, his agent goes, this is who in the NHL. This is who you remind me of because of the path. And we're like, okay. It's like, well, it's not sexy, but he's there, right? And you look around, like as you were talking there, I was talking about like U18 a lot of times get in Canada. In the US, it's not so bad because it's just done differently, right? There's no rush to get to junior, I guess. But like in Canada, it seems like there's a rush to get to junior. And if you're a U18 player, it's almost like, yeah, I just playing U18, but it's like really good hockey. If you make it that, right? You could have a bad attitude or not. But when I was coaching in Detroit, the one year we had my team, I cut from our team, U18 team. So we weren't a U18 team, but we're playing in that league. I guess I don't know the rules, man. But anyways, Jalen Chatfield would have been a 17-year-old. He was 16, 17, whatever. It's a sentence somehow.
It's okay.
Anyways, he was trying out for our team.
Okay.
And I cut him. Coach
really?
was going like,
that's interesting.
Yeah. They go like, we like him, and I'm like, he just doesn't do it for me. Now, Jalen Chatfield ended up being a student of mine for 2 summers after that when he was playing for in Windsor, and I'm so proud of him because but I wasn't interested in him at 17. I had better players, so I thought, or at the time they were. But Jalen Chatfield loved hockey. And he just played hockey. And he blocked his shots and he did what he did at every level that he did. Now he's like 3-4 years in the NHL and he's doing great in Carolina now. Another guy that was in that U18 league, and there's a hell of a lot more, but we're playing Honey Baked, and it was Dakota Joshua, who's always a really good player. And I watched him. I said, yeah, he's dominating. But I'm like, because I didn't understand U18 at the time either. That was like 10, 15 years ago. I go, oh, yeah, he's a good player, but yeah, he's a year older than these guys. But like the trajectory was he just kept playing. Then he went to whatever university and had a good career and NHL player. There's a lot of those guys. So it's like being a really good, like I've said this a million times, being a really good hockey player at 14, awesome. 16, great. 18, great. But that doesn't make you a pro hockey player. That doesn't, there's a long, long road. And this is what I can say, and I've always said this to my son, and I say this to a lot of kids. It's like where you're going to be at 21, 22, 23, 24 if you want to be a pro. And sometimes it's a straight line, and sometimes that road will take you like you think you're so far off. But the bottom line is like, actually, the Dallas coach was just talking about this the other day. He goes, "You bloom where you're planted, right? You be good where you're at, and you just do your best at that point." And it's not like a poor me story. I love the fact that the kids that fight and just keep grinding at 18, 19, 20, 21, it's better later on. It just is. It's just better later on because you got that fight in you, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, cool, man. I don't know. I hope that's kind of helpful. I've been having so many of these talks, especially now it's heating up and everyone's got to make decisions and stuff like that. And there's just so many things that it'd be great for parents to know before they go into it, So if this is helpful for kids that are coming up on that or in the middle of it right now, it's because it's hard to figure out, and you can do the analysis game in your own way and be confused and butthurt about everything all the time, and it's just not like super useful. So hopefully that's somewhat helpful,
Cool. Yep.
So I'm gonna call it there.
Okay,
bye.